When Eilat Mazar realized she discovered an ancient structure near Jerusalem, she turned to the Bible to help explain what she found.
And she learned that this new discovery supports the biblical accounts of King David and his son Solomon.
For thousands of years, King Solomon's name has been invoked for stories of his wisdom and treasure. But the real question has always remained: does his tomb really exist, or is it all just a legend? For centuries, historians, scientists, and research teams have attempted to solve this mystery, but each time they have found only dust and incomplete stories. Some said the tomb was hidden beneath the Temple Mount. Others claimed it was buried in a cave. But no one had concrete evidence. Then something happened that shocked the entire world. During a recent excavation in Jerusalem, a team of archaeologists from Hebrew University accidentally discovered a mysterious site that changed the course of history. They were originally searching for King David's lost temple, but the path led them to a place no one had imagined: King Solomon's tomb. And when the site was opened, the objects found inside shook science, religion, and history. It felt as if a truth hidden for 3,000 years had finally been revealed. The question arises: is this really the same tomb? And if so, will the secrets hidden within its depths rewrite the history books in the future? So, get ready to learn the truth behind this mystery. And yes, be sure to subscribe to the channel before continuing with the video, so you can be the first to see the secret that remained hidden from the world for thousands of years. He is mentioned extensively in the Bible and many ancient texts. It is said that under his rule, Jerusalem was not just a city, but the most powerful center of the entire region. King Solomon was renowned for his wisdom, magnificent palaces, and immense treasure. The Bible even states that he possessed so much gold, silver, and wealth that it was impossible for any ruler of that era to match him. But while his life was so illustrious and powerful, his tomb remained a constant mystery after his death. This is the greatest mystery. Such a great king, yet there is no definitive evidence of his burial. For centuries, scholars, explorers, and archaeologists have been trying to discover where King Solomon's tomb lies. Many believe that if it is discovered, it will prove to be one of the world's greatest archaeological wonders. Initial discoveries and failed attempts. The question now arises: why hasn't his tomb been found for so many years? In fact, history bears witness to numerous attempts, but each time has failed. In the 19th century, many explorers from Europe and America arrived in Jerusalem. Until then, people believed that King Solomon's tomb might be beneath the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount is a highly sacred site, and excavation there was difficult. Religious disputes and political circumstances have always prevented large-scale research in this area. This is why the search for Solomon's tomb virtually ceased during that period. Some explorers claimed to have found ancient clues. For example, the area around Hezekiah's tunnel and the Pool of Siloam was often viewed with suspicion. Between 1913 and 1924, French archaeologist Raymond Weil conducted excavations. He discovered 9 rock-cut tombs he believed might be ancient royal tombs. He directly linked 3 of these tombs to Old Testament kings. However, due to a lack of concrete evidence, his claims were mired in controversy. Modern excavations and a surprising turn. After years of failed attempts and incomplete discoveries, new hope finally emerged in the 21st century. This time, a team of archaeologists from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem was led by Dr. Eilat Mazar, a female archaeologist who knew how to talk to stones and ruins. He famously said, "We must let the stones speak for themselves." This means that the truth of any discovery should be learned not from preconceived notions, but from the ancient walls and objects themselves. In fact, Dr. Mazer and her team's real goal wasn't even to find King Solomon's tomb. They were excavating in and around the oldest part of Jerusalem, the city of David. Their goal was to find King David's palace. But as they say, sometimes history reveals its secrets, and that's exactly what happened. When the team began excavating in the Ophel area, they began uncovering ancient artifacts layer after layer. Initially, everything seemed normal: a few walls, pottery, and small inscriptions. But as the excavation deepened, a massive structure emerged that astonished everyone. This was no ordinary wall. It was a stone wall, approximately 210 feet long, with a corner tower and a large gateway. At first glance, the team thought it might be part of a fortress. But upon closer inspection, it became clear that this structure was of a grand and royal caliber. Its thickness, height, and stonework were completely different from ordinary buildings of the time. It seemed as if it had been built on the orders of a great ruler. This is where the suspense grew. The team investigated further. They unearthed some pottery near the wall, one of which bore a Hebrew inscription. This indicated that the site belonged to a high official. Additionally, some sculptures were found, figures of four-legged animals, and female figures associated with fertility. Most intriguingly, the handles of the vessels were engraved with words like, "For the king." Questions arose. To which period did all this belong? When examined using radiocarbon dating and other scientific methods, the results were surprising. The structure and vessels dated back to the 10th century BC, the same period when King Solomon is believed to have reigned. This sparked a debate among historians and scientists. Some argued that this was definitive evidence of King Solomon's reign. Others suspected that it might have been a structure from the time of another king. However, Dr. Mazer argued that only two rulers, King David and King Solomon, possessed the power to build such grand structures in the 10th century. Matters became even more intriguing when, during the excavation, a mysterious underground space was discovered. This space had been sealed off from above and remained undiscovered for centuries. When it was slowly opened, the team was stunned by the sight inside. It seemed like a royal resting place. The walls and stones indicated that this place was built for a special purpose, not for ordinary people. And then the question arose, could this be the place where King Solomon was buried? This discovery shook the entire picture of history. Until now, people thought that Solomon's tomb was merely a myth, but this mysterious structure questioned that thinking. Suddenly, the entire world's attention was drawn to this excavation. The news spread across newspapers, TV channels, and social media. Some experts believed that if further discoveries truly linked this structure to King Solomon, it would be the greatest archaeological achievement of the 21st century. Because it would not only be the tomb of a king, but would also offer a glimpse into an entire era whose stories had previously been found only in religious texts. Historical and archaeological significance. Finding King Solomon's temple has been a long-cherished dream of archaeologists, and the recent discovery of a section of wall in the Ophel area is considered a major breakthrough. The Ophel is the oldest area of Jerusalem, once home to King David's palace. This discovery not only offers a glimpse into the region's ancient history, but also connects it with biblical traditions that state that King Solomon was buried in the city of David. This discovery is all the more significant because it reinforces the biblical image of Solomon, a powerful monarch who ruled a vast empire. It challenges the perception that some people saw him as merely the leader of a small tribe. The city of David, named after his father, King David, is still considered the oldest part of Jerusalem. This site, just south of the Old City, is believed to be where David established his capital after defeating the Jebusites. Excavations here have uncovered numerous ancient structures and artifacts, further illuminating Jerusalem's early history. This area, also known as Wadi Hilwa, is considered the heart of ancient Jerusalem during the Bronze and Iron Ages. It lies just below the Temple Mount, on the southern side of the eastern hill, between the Kidron Valley and the Tyropoion Valley. Excavations here have also uncovered Bronze Age remains, such as defensive walls around the Gihon Spring. One of the most intriguing discoveries is the massive Iron Age stone structure and stepped stone structure. Scholars still debate whether these date back to the time of King David or later. Furthermore, the Siloam Tunnel, also known as Hezekiah's Tunnel, was discovered in the city of David. This tunnel was built to bring water to the city and demonstrates the engineering prowess of the people of that era. It was previously associated with Hezekiah, but recent excavations have shown that it may be even older. Furthermore, numerous Roman artifacts were also discovered here, such as the Pool of Siloam and a stone-paved staircase. This site is not just a settlement, but an entire city steeped in history, bringing back to life the stories of a civilization thousands of years old. Today, the area uncovered after excavation is part of the Jerusalem Walls National Park. It is maintained by the Israel Nature and Parks Authority and operated by the Eyer David Foundation. This site is located in Wadi Hilwa, which adjoins the Palestinian neighborhood of Silwan in East Jerusalem and also adjoins an Israeli settlement. Another significant discovery was also made here, a massive stone structure, which some experts believe may be the remains of King David's palace. If true, this proves that the city of David was the true center of power and administration during the time of David and Solomon. But the problem was that earlier excavations failed to uncover any concrete evidence of any royal tombs, whether Solomon's or those of subsequent kings. Several reasons are cited for this. One is that the city of David is very vast, and earlier excavations did not explore every corner. It is possible that these tombs are still hidden underground and may one day be discovered. Secondly, Jerusalem's history is fraught with wars and invasions. Therefore, it is possible that the tombs were either destroyed or buried under later buildings. Still, archaeologists were not one to give up. They always believed that these royal tombs held many secrets of history. If these tombs were ever discovered, they would reveal new information about the kings of that time and their burial traditions, deepening our understanding. Even though the tombs have not yet been found, the remaining discoveries in the city of David have made a significant contribution. These helped scientists understand what Jerusalem looked like during the United Monarchy and how its inhabitants lived. Each new discovery seemed to open a new door to the past. Before the tombs were discovered, various theories were popular, such as stories of secret chambers that might hold mysterious histories. Let's now take a look at the various theories and speculations that have long been discussed regarding Solomon's tomb. Differing opinions about the tomb's location. Before Dr. Mazar's discovery, many believed that King Solomon's tomb was hidden beneath the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount is considered a highly sacred place for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Muslims call it the Haram al-Sharif, meaning Great Sanctuary. This is believed to be the place where the Prophet Muhammad, during a miraculous journey, arrived before Allah on a winged horse. The Dome of the Rock, built to commemorate this event, remains a unique example of Islamic architecture even today. The Temple Mount is unique in that it has been ruled by numerous civilizations throughout history: Jebusites, Israelites, Babylonians, Greeks, Persians, Romans, Byzantines, early Muslims, Crusaders, Mamluks, Ottomans, and even the British. It is said that no other small area in the world has been influenced by so many major empires as these 35 acres. But the real problem is that excavation here is nearly impossible. The site remains an active religious site and is managed by the Waqf, an Islamic council. They clearly believe that archaeological excavations here would be sacrilege, preventing scientists from accessing the evidence hidden beneath the ground. Yes, in the late 19th century, some European explorers secretly surveyed the caves and tunnels here. Furthermore, the British conducted some minor excavations between 1938 and 1942 during the restoration of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. But beyond these small efforts, what lies beneath the ground remains a mystery. This is why, even if Solomon's tomb truly exists beneath the Temple Mount, it is nearly impossible to locate it without proper investigation. For now, this idea remains merely an interesting theory, yet lacking any concrete evidence. History and ancient traditions repeatedly mention that kings were buried around the Temple Mount. Some stories even clearly suggest that the tombs of many rulers, including Solomon, may have been in this area. There's a reason for this belief. This is because the first temple, built by Solomon himself, was located here. This temple was considered the Israelites' most important religious site. Therefore, it wouldn't be wrong to assume that King Solomon's tomb was also located somewhere nearby. But this is where several other interesting theories emerge. Ancient texts mention hidden chambers and secret passages beneath the Temple Mount. It's said that these contained important treasures, or perhaps even the tombs of kings. The problem is that archaeological excavation is virtually impossible at this site, as it is a religiously sensitive area. The little investigation that has been conducted has been done with extreme caution to avoid damaging the site. While many ancient objects and structures have been discovered, concrete evidence of Solomon's tomb remains elusive. This is why this mystery remains unsolved even today. If it is ever proven that Solomon's tomb lies beneath or near the Temple Mount, the discovery would not only shake the world of archaeology, but would also be a monumental event for both history and religion. But this theory alone is not the only one. Historians are not taking this discovery lightly. They say that the objects found in the tomb can help us understand what society was like at that time, what symbols people valued, and how the royal administration functioned. For example, the names inscribed on pottery and seals indicate that there was an organized government system that collected taxes and issued royal decrees. The biggest question remains: is this really King Solomon's tomb? Or is it the tomb of another ruler that was later attributed to Solomon? Scientists believe that this question remains unanswered. But what is certain is that the objects and inscriptions found inside have reignited one of history's greatest mysteries. Only time and further research will reveal whether this site truly is the final resting place of the ruler who astonished the entire world in his time. The Bible's book, 1 Kings 2:10, clearly states that after King David's death, he was buried in the city of David. It also states that he ruled Israel for a total of 40 years, 7 years in Hebron, and then a full 33 years in Jerusalem. After David's death, his son Solomon ascended the throne and established his rule. Interestingly, the Tanakh, Hebrew Bible, uses the word Zion to refer to ancient Jerusalem. However, later, during the Middle Ages, Byzantine travelers mistakenly identified a hill south of the Armenian quarter of the Old City as ancient Jerusalem and named it Mount Zion. In reality, David's conquered city was located on a lower hill, just south of the Temple Mount. The same site had previously been a city of the Jebusites, and David made it his capital. This area served as the core of the original Jerusalem for over 200 years, before the city gradually expanded westward to include the area now known as Mount Zion. This is why the misconception that King David was buried on Mount Zion persisted for centuries. When Jerusalem was destroyed in the 2nd century CE, the Jews were expelled, and knowledge of the actual tomb's location was lost. The first clue to the burial site of David and his descendants is found in the Bible itself, where it states that King David, his son Solomon, and other kings of Judah for the next 150 years were buried in the city of David. This is the site known today as the City of David, or Ir Dawood. In 1913, French archaeologist Raymond Weil excavated several sites in the City of David. He believed these were actual tombs and possibly the royal cemetery of the early kings mentioned in the Old Testament. Although some scholars questioned his claim, archaeologist Jeff Zorn later re-examined the evidence and concluded that Weil's claim may be valid. Interestingly, David's tomb has been mistakenly attributed to Mount Zion since the time of the 1st century Jewish historian Josephus. However, early biblical references indicate that David and several other ancient kings were buried in the original Old City of Jerusalem, near the southern edge of the City of David. But the real question remains: where is King Solomon's tomb? Archaeologist Jeff Zorn believes we may already have the answer. 2 ancient tunnels discovered in the City of David may have once contained the remains of the early kings of ancient Jerusalem. 19th-century explorer and diplomat Charles Clermont-Ganneau also made an interesting observation. He believed that the zigzag path of Hezekiah's tunnel was not created randomly, but was designed to avoid damaging the tombs of the kings above. Religion versus science. The real question arises here. If this is indeed King Solomon's tomb, does this mean that the stories in the Bible were completely true? This is what brings religion and science face to face. Religious belief is very clear. King Solomon is mentioned in all 3 religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. According to the Bible, Solomon was not just a king, but a special messenger of God. He built the first temple called the Temple of Solomon. His wisdom, his decisions, and his treasures, all of these are recorded in the Scriptures. Therefore, if the objects and inscriptions found in the tomb truly date back to his time, it would serve as a kind of proof for religion that what was written was not just a story, but a reality. But science is not so readily convinced. Scientists say that while ancient objects, walls, and inscriptions have been found, determining whether they are directly related to Solomon is extremely difficult. The reason is that there were many other rulers, both great and small, who also commissioned constructions, and whose belongings may also be discovered over time. Therefore, it is not scientifically correct to simply conclude that every discovery is Solomon's tomb. Some scholars believe that this discovery is true and dates back to Solomon's time. They argue that such a grand structure and such organized inscriptions in the 10th century BCE were only possible under a ruler with immense power and resources, and that was King Solomon. They say that the inscription "for the king" on seals found inside the tomb is direct evidence. But on the other hand, many experts remain skeptical. They argue that the word king can be used not just for Solomon, but for any ruler. Furthermore, archaeology always carries the risk that something could be misinterpreted over time. It's possible that the tomb belonged to another king, but its identity later changed. This conflict is what creates this discovery. Religion says, this is the same tomb that has been talked about for centuries. Science says, prove it. History doesn't change just by accepting it. This conflict has made this discovery even more mysterious. While people are hailing it as the ultimate proof of Solomon's story, scientists say more research is needed. The ultimate question remains, will this tomb prove the truth of the scriptures, or will science dismiss it as just another unfinished story? A game of secret chambers and theories. King Solomon's tomb has always been shrouded in mystery. But the real mystery isn't just where it is, but whether it was deliberately hidden. Numerous historical stories and ancient traditions suggest that the tombs of kings were never built openly, especially those of rulers who possessed immense treasures and priceless objects. And Solomon was one such king, one who possessed a mountain of treasures. The most widely discussed theory concerns the Temple Mount. This is the site considered sacred by all three religions: Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Jews believe that the first temple, built by Solomon himself, was built here. Muslims believe that it was from here that the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. Christians also consider it a special spiritual site. It wouldn't be surprising if a royal tomb was hidden beneath such a sacred site. However, the problem is that excavation on the Temple Mount is virtually impossible. For religious and political reasons, no excavation can be conducted there. This is why many people still believe that the true tomb lies beneath the Temple Mount, but it will never be opened. Another major theory concerns Zedekiah's cave, often referred to as Solomon's Quarries. This is a vast underground network of limestone structures stretching beneath Jerusalem's Old City. It is said that this stone was used in the construction of Solomon's Temple. The cave spans 5 acres and appears to be a labyrinth within. Local legends say that some parts of the cave contain secret passages and hidden chambers that lead directly to Solomon's tomb. Although this claim has never been proven, the cave's mysterious atmosphere and its connection to Solomon continue to fuel public curiosity. Some scholars also believe that the tomb was deliberately hidden. The reason is clear. At that time, it was crucial to protect the royal treasures and the bodies of kings from robbers and enemies. Therefore, burial sites were built in such a way that no one could easily access them. This is why some historians believe that Solomon's tomb may have been sealed in a cave or underground tunnel, protecting it from both time and invasion. Another interesting theory concerns Hezekiah's tunnel. This tunnel was built to supply water, but many believe that secret rooms may be hidden within the connected sections of this tunnel. If so, it is possible that these rooms contained royal tombs. However, no excavation has yet found conclusive evidence of this. Several historical events also deepen this mystery. Jerusalem has witnessed countless wars and invasions over the centuries. The city has been conquered by Babylonians, Romans, Greeks, and Crusaders, all of them. Therefore, it is possible that the tomb was simply destroyed over time rather than hidden. However, many experts still believe that such a large tomb could not have completely disappeared. It must be safe somewhere. We just have to find the right place. People's imaginations make this mystery even more fascinating. Some believe that the tomb may contain not just bones or objects, but also mysterious objects like the Seal of Solomon. This seal is said to have given the king supernatural powers, allowing him to control spirits and jinn. If this is true, and the seal is ever found, it would be the greatest discovery in the world. So the question remains, is the tomb truly buried beneath the Temple Mount? Or is it hidden somewhere in the dark passages of Zedekiah's cave? Or has it been lost forever in the turmoil of history? This debate continues among historians and archaeologists. But one thing is certain. The deeper this mystery deepens, the more people's curiosity grows. Because if this tomb is ever truly discovered, it will not only give new meaning to biblical stories, but history books may even have to be rewritten. So the biggest question now is, Is this really King Solomon's tomb? Or is it history's greatest hoax? Is this mystery, hidden for 3,000 years, about to be revealed? Or will it remain just another untold story? The items found inside the tomb give us hope, but many questions remain. Perhaps future discoveries will provide clear answers. What do you think? Is this really Solomon's final resting place? Or is history playing another trick on us? Be sure to leave your opinion in the comments below. And yes, if you want to be the first to see such mysterious and shocking truths, subscribe to the channel. The real story is yet to come, and we'll be the first to reveal every secret to you.